All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the pie crust. Here's the recipe, so you can pause the video and take a look. And there's the back of the recipe. And of course, I'm gonna do what it says at the bottom of the recipe card. I'm gonna go ahead and blind bake the pie crust. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, let me get my flour. Now, of course, you don't have to make your own pie crust. It took me many years to perfect mine. You could just go ahead and buy one. So it's 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon. And then it does call for a teaspoon of salt. Let me grab my salt. I didn't get it out. Oh no, where's the salt? Ah, there it is. It says half a teaspoon. I just kind of put it in my hand, the cup of my hand, and throw it in. Very scientific. All right, and then you're just gonna wanna go ahead and mix that up a little bit to kind of combine the salt and the flour. And now I'm gonna go ahead and cut my shortening into my bread. I like to use the Crisco butter sticks. They come in these nice little sticks. It's measured on the side already, and I have a 1/3 cup left because I made a 2-crust pie before and it calls for 2/3 cup. So it's very convenient. And I like to just kind of cut it in half and then cube it and add it a little bit at a time. This is not how my mother used to do it. She used to do it all at once, but I like to combine a little bit of the shortening at a time. I'm just kind of mushing the shortening into the flour. And of course you could use more. I could have done 1/2 and 1/2. See, like I could just add one piece and mush it in. Or I could add 2 at a time. There we go. And it's just a rough, gonna kind of clean this out, make sure we got all the shortening. Now it hasn't quite come together yet, which is okay, because that's what I'm going to use the water for. I don't know if you saw the water as one of the ingredients, but that's what the water's for. It's going to combine our flour together to actually make the dough. Now, one of the things that I do a little bit different is that I found a recipe that calls for cold water. In fact, ice cold water. So I just get a cup of water, my nice kid's Luby's cup, and I put some ice cubes in there. And it says 3 to 5. I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 right now. I normally do about 2 tablespoons at a time. So there's the first 2. And I'm gonna stir it together. And see, it's kind of coming together to form a dough. It's gonna need at least 1/3, but it's probably going to need all 5. And then I probably could do 6 if I absolutely had to. So let me do 3. You want to do them one at a time because you never know how much is going to be enough, and you don't want to over wet it. And it's just to when you think it looks good and it starts to come together and form a ball. See, like that could be enough, but it still looks kind of crumbly on the sides for me. So I'm going to go ahead and add the 5th tablespoon. And I think that's going to be enough. Let's see. Now I do have my oven preheating right now because my oven is older and it does need about 20 minutes or so to preheat. Yeah, see, that looks good, how everything's kind of come together. There's not as many crumbs, so we're going to clean off our fork. So my oven is preheating right now while I mix this up. And now I'm just going to use my hand to form this into a ball. Maybe I need another cup of water, another tablespoon of water. Let's see. Good morning, Leia. No, it's looking pretty good. I think I can get the rest of this to kind of come and incorporate into my dough. Yep, there we go. Looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cover this in some saran wrap, and I'm going to place it in the fridge for 45 minutes. And then I'm going to go ahead and roll it out and bake it. So we'll be right back to show you how to roll it out. All right, so I'm going to give this a try. It's been 30 minutes instead of 45, so we're just going to see how this works. But I've got my dough out of the fridge. I floured my surface. I have some extra just in case off to the side. And I've gone ahead and floured my rolling pin. So let's go ahead and get this. I kind of flatten it a little bit, flour both the sides, and now we're going to go ahead and just start rolling it out. There's really no wrong way to do it, I guess. You just want to get it as thin as possible and into a round. I think the 30 minutes is pretty good. You just got to make sure that it's about as big as you need it to be. That's okay. That's the sign of a good crust, how it kind of wants to roll up there. Means it's going to be nice and flaky and buttery. There we go. Now to make sure that it's okay, I just grab my pie plan and I set it in there. Yep, it looks like it's gonna fit. So we're ready to go ahead and transfer it into the pie pan. We're just gonna go ahead and fold it over and in half, and then you just lay it right into the pie plate. Now this takes practice. Like I said, many years. It's okay that it's not quite perfect. We can make it work. We just got to make sure we get it situated in there correctly. I have a few spots that just need to kind of come together. But yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to kind of go ahead and get this put in correctly. There we go. And I just got to make sure that everything's kind of covered, that it's gone into the pie plate. I'm going to go ahead now and get a fork. The fork is going to do a couple of things for me. It's going to help me take all this extra dough, let me get my saran wrap out of the way, off the sides here. So I just kind of go like this to get it on there, and then I just kind of use my fork to cut it off. You could also use a knife, but once you put it down so much, it's just as easy, and it doesn't dirty as much. It's just as easy to chop at it with your fork, just like that. I see that I have one little bare spot, and maybe as I turn it, you can see that. I'm going to come back with a little bit of this extra dough that I'm pulling off, maybe some from right here. This stuff looks pretty nice and thin. Save that off to the side. And I'm going to fill up that hole. It'd probably be fine to leave it. You just wouldn't have any crust at that point. Now I've left my little scalloped edge bare. I've taken it off. It's just preference, really. There we go. Now for this particular recipe, to blind bake means that we're gonna bake the crust with nothing inside. Normally with like a apple pie or a pumpkin pie, you would have all your filling inside and you would bake it all together and everything cooks together. With this one, with the fresh strawberry pie, you don't want to do that because the filling's different and it doesn't cook in the oven. It cooks on the stove. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to kind of poke some holes. This ensures that my pie crust keeps the shape of the pie plate. And then it's just, you know, preference. How many holes do you think you should put in there? And it's just little ones with the fork. Notice I'm not really even going through. I even like to come around on the side. It allows it. What's happening now is it's not going to puff up like a pastry would. And we're going to go ahead and pop it in the oven for 15 to 16 minutes, and then it's ready to go ahead and be. All right, it's time to assemble our fresh strawberry pie. So as you can see, I filled up my pie crust with my cut fresh strawberries. Some I diced in half, some I cut into 3 or 4 pieces because they were very big and juicy. And then I just filled it up to my desired fullness. Now I'm going ahead and in my saucepan, I am putting together my cornstarch, my sugar, and my water. So it's 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, a cup of sugar, and 1.5 cups of water per the recipe. I'm just gonna go ahead and combine this and bring it up to a boil, letting it simmer and stirring it constantly until it gets thick. You'll notice once it gets thick, I'm gonna go ahead and add the Jell-O in just till it has dissolved. I just use a packet of Jell-O. There we go. That's the one I'm going to use. Yes, I know it's sugar-free and I put sugar in there, but it'll be fine. I don't know. I guess I just always buy the sugar-free Jell-O. All right, so as you can see, it has gone ahead and thickened up. You can also tell that it's changed colors. So we're gonna go ahead and get this Jell-O in here ASAP. Sometimes it's nice to have another person help you with this part, just so that the sugar and stuff won't burn, but it shouldn't be too bad. There we go. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get that mixed in so that it dissolves. Once it has done so, we're gonna kind of let it sit for just a bit while I clean stuff up off the heat. And then we're just gonna pour it in on top of our strawberries. Oh, I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. So strawberry. And so yeah, we're just making sure that it's all dissolved. I still see a couple of pieces, so I'm just gonna keep stirring. It looks pretty good. I think I can take off the heat so that we don't scorch anything and burn it. It's very thick and it's Jell-O, so it's very gelatinous, I guess you'd say. So let me just get some stuff cleaned up real quick so that we can go ahead and pour this over our strawberries. So here's our strawberry pie. There we go. And we just take it and we just pour it right on over. Just kind of want to get every little crevice there. you have a little bit of play with it. Not much, but a little bit. Like I can tell there's a lot of stuff right in here. So I'm just gonna kind of move some things around with my spatula and just kind of make it look pretty. And then that's pretty much it. It's pretty much ready. I'm just gonna go ahead and clean up and put this in the fridge so that it can get set up. And in a few hours, it should be ready to go. Let's see if I can get a little bit more over here. There we go. It looks good. I hope it tastes as good as it smells and looks. There we go. Good luck with yours.